About 10 to 12 nurses were in my room. Lady, I'm not able to talk. It was really tough. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel if you're an old friend, and welcome if you're new here. So I gave birth to my second little baby boy on 16th of July this year. It's going to be 2 months. So actually we were not allowed to record the entire, the real process there in the hospital. I made a birth vlog which I'm gonna link here somewhere, but I thought it's going to be interesting to share the birth story, how actually everything went on. So if you are interested to listen to my experience as the entire hospital we're talking about the traumatic birth story, so keep watching. For reference, on 15th of July I went for my 39-week appointment, and I was told that I'm at a 1 centimeter and probably it's gonna be on my due date or after the due date, but not before that, because I'm not showing any sign of progression. So my doctor actually asked me if I want to be induced, because that's what happened with my first little boy. My water broke and then I had no contractions, so they had to induce me. So I said no, I want to go natural as much as possible. So on 16th actually everything started. About 5:15ish I actually started having cramp in my lower abdomen, and to be very honest, I actually do not remember how the actual contractions were with my first one, because it actually happened 2 years back, and honestly that point of time you were in so much pain that I could only remember that it was very painful. So I actually started feeling very high pressure down there, the lower abdominal place, and so I thought probably it's a false alarm, but we'll see. But I actually couldn't sleep, so I came back to the living area and I actually started making my coffee and started living the day. And then about 9:30ish I actually started feeling a little more pressure, and the contractions were they were painful. So that's where actually I started timing them, and I told my husband. So he was like, yeah, we should actually go to the hospital. So I'm like, I kind of feel that let us just stay at home, and if it is actual labor, let us just labor at home as much as possible, because I believe it's a 5 centimeter you should be to be admitted, and the contraction should be at least for 1 minute continuous, and at least in the 5 minutes in interval. So I thought I told to him that let me just monitor the contraction, and if actually I feel that we need to go to the hospital, then we will definitely. So I actually was in a lot of pain, but I wasn't sure if that was actual contraction, but it was really painful. So I actually started timing them, and I remember about 11:30ish they were about 5, somewhere 4.5, somewhere 3 minutes apart. So, and they were very very painful. They were at a at a level where I couldn't talk. So I told my husband about 12 o'clock that I think we should go to the hospital, because I don't want to reach at a place where I'm more than 5 and I'm not able to get the epidural, because even if it didn't work last time, I wanted to I want to get an epidural. So about, I think about 1:30ish I said no, I cannot actually tolerate the pain. So we started for the hospital. Luckily our bags and everything were packed, so we reached the hospital around 2 o'clock. It's just 3 to 4 minutes distance from our place. So we reached there at 2 o'clock. I couldn't walk, so my husband actually grabbed a wheelchair, and then we went for the screening, initial COVID screening, and then finally the birthing center. And then the nurse she said, I'm gonna check you, but if you're not at a 5 centimeter, then you'll have to go back to home and then come back maybe after some time. And I'm like, lady, I'm not able to talk, just check. So she checked me and I was at a 6 centimeters, and she said, you're definitely at a active labor. So we finally were shifted to the delivery room. She gave me the gown to change and everything, and then they took the COVID test, which was no fun with the contraction. And then they also did the blood work, and that's when the real birthing started. Then I got my IV, which took about not less than 30 minutes. They had to poke me about 5 times. They couldn't find the nerve, and then after 3 nurses, the 4th one finally came. My left hand had I think 5 pokes, and then she tried with my right hand, and finally she was able to get the right position. And on the 6th attempt I got my IV. And yeah, so I actually had a note. So about 3:30 I got the epidural. The lady came, and this time it didn't hurt. Again, epidural is kind of a very high pressure you're gonna feel on your back. It was like that. I felt a very cold kind of a sensation back there, but it was nothing painful, I would say. Then we were told that we can press the button for additional epidural for every 15 minutes, like an add-on or something. So I was like continuously pressing it after 15 minutes because it was like the contraction were very, very painful. About half an hour or so I actually started feeling a little better. And I remember exactly after 45 minutes I couldn't feel a thing. So I asked actually my husband to look at the monitor and see if I'm actually contracting or not. So he saw like there were big contractions I was having, but I wasn't feeling a thing. So this time I was like very, very happy that the epidural is working. But about 4:30 the nurse came and she checked me, and I was at an 8.5 centimeter dilated. And then I actually do not remember the exact time, but within 10 to 15 minutes I was at 10 centimeter, and I was so ready to push. I was having very high pressure down there, and I couldn't control. I told my nurse that I need the urge to I'm having the urge to push. But my doctor was actually at another a different room. She was doing another delivery, so she was like she had to wait, but I couldn't wait. So my nurses are like, okay, we can start with practice pushes. So we did that. After about an hour of practice pushes, my doctor finally came and she checked, and I had no improvement. I was still at 10 centimeter dilated, but there was no improvement. Baby was at a weird position where baby was down, but probably baby should be like this, and baby was in this position, or the vice versa. But my doctor had to put her hand inside and flip the baby to the required position. And then she again went back to that particular delivery room, and she asked my nurses to help me do the practice pushes, or I don't know. I mean, my nurses were keep on telling me, okay, this is the practice pushes, and you're gonna push for probably an hour or so, and then you're gonna meet your baby. Do not worry, doctor is right there. But even after 2 to 3 hours there was no improvement. They moved me to my left side, then the right side, and then just laying on my back, all the positions, but there was no improvement at all. So at that point of time my nurse actually asked me to stop because I was like really, really tired and there was no improvement. And they were checking my pulse and baby's heart rate and my blood pressure. Like they were having they were closely monitoring that. Everything was fine, but they were like they were worried because I was at a point where I wasn't able to talk. I was like really, really tired, and to that point I was up for about more than 12 hours. And then after I think about an hour or so, about 8 o'clock, my doctor came back to my room, and then she checked, and baby didn't come down, and baby actually flipped back to the initial position, and we were at the 0. We had to start the entire thing again. The doctor had to make an incision that is called something I like very hard to pronounce. I'm gonna mention it here. And that's a small cut incision they had to make, and then my doctor had to you know, flip the baby back to the required position again. And at this point of time I had no energy whatsoever. The doctors and nurses were like, they were taking my name, and I was kind of, you know, I was kind of dozed off a bit. So they were like, Sam, could you, you know, do you hear us and everything? I'm like, I was just nodding my head, but I was so tired. It was about 4.5 or so. I was, you know, pushing, and it was really, really tough. I thought, you know, probably I'm just not gonna make it. My husband said that the doctor at that point of time were like really worried, and she called all the nurses in the entire hospital. So about 10 to 12 nurses were in my room, and they all were thinking that I'm not gonna make it to the normal delivery, and probably they have to go for a C-section. And my doctor was like really, really worried. So I could hear them saying that, you know, Sam, please try and push. You really need to push for your baby. And that's when, I don't know where I got the energy or where I got that power. I did, I think, 2 pushes about 10:35, and my baby was born. That's when you forget all the pain, everything, when they, you know, put your baby to your chest. And that's such a magical moment. That's why, you know, the place of a mother cannot be given to anybody else. You know, mothers are always the greatest, including me. When I delivered the placenta, and, you know, stitching and everything was done, my doctor informed me that I had a 3rd-degree tear, and that the recovery process is gonna take time because of the traumatic birth experience that I had. But I wasn't actually concerned about that. I was over the moon. I was just looking at my baby. I was so happy that I couldn't actually think of anything else. I was just looking at him, and, you know, telling to myself that he's just perfect. So yeah, they asked me if I'm interested in breastfeeding. I said yeah. Then they did skin to skin for about 45 minutes or so. I fed him, and then we were shifted to our postpartum recovery room. So this was my birth story with my second baby boy, whose name is Atharv, and who's gonna be 2 months old in just 3 days. And he's just perfect. I couldn't have asked for a better experience. Whatever happened, all's well that ends well. I'm like so happy. You know, now I feel that our family is just complete, and we just love him. So here is baby Atharv, who just woke up from his nap, and just perfect. So guys, this is it for today's video, and I'm gonna see you guys very soon in the next one. Bye guys.